Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hey there. Happy Friday.
Hello, hello. Pardon the voice. I'm a little under the weather. It's been a crazy week.
Tell me
But,
about your crazy week. I'm sorry you're sick though, but
uh,
tell me about your crazy week.
well, the highlight of the crazy week was the fact that I wanted to focus on self-care this year. So I booked a massage before Christmas because she's booked up like 4 to 6 weeks in
Oh my
advance. And I totally
gosh.
forgot. I forgot that I had the massage. It popped up in my calendar and it was oh my God, it was like Christmas morning. I was so excited. I had my massage. It was the first amazing massage I've had, I think, in a year.
You had a weekday massage?
I did a Thursday night.
Oh, Thursday night. I thought Thursday in the day. And I'm like, well, that's the life. What do you need a massage for if you got free time on a Thursday?
I would love that, but no, unfortunately, I think my boss listens, so let's nix that.
Well, I wish I had a highlight of the week. I can't say that I do, but I I know it says something about my life that I'm like, my highlight was watching General Hospital. So let's just get right into it. So she doesn't remember. Lulu doesn't remember. This is how the week starts. She doesn't remember.
I knew it though. Didn't we call it last week? We're like, you know what? With the look on our face, and they need to prolong the story, and there needs to be a better person, it's not going to be the situation.
I know. And I know we knew this, but it's still really upsetting to watch her not remember because I'm like, try a little harder. But the funny thing was, is that first of all, I was just baffled and shocked that Ryan got as far as he did with Lulu. Like, because we all know she's not going to die. He's not going to do anything. She's going to survive this. But the point that he was in the room and he got the pillow, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is going a little too far. I mean, I knew somebody would have walked in eventually, but still, I was a little bit freaked out. But I have to say, this one person on Instagram had me dying of laughter and pointed out some details that I don't think I was paying attention to. So think about Ryan smothering her.
Yes.
So L. Halpane writes, you had an oxygen tube on when he tried to smother you. Good thing, huh?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Dying. She's not even done there. She had a couple more funnies. She wrote, Laura, try the call button next time. So I was just like, it's true though. Like, your daughter is like the sole survivor of a serial killer and you left her alone. And then she said Kevin needs to save the day. He's got some explaining to do, which he does.
Oh
He has a lot of
God.
explaining to do. And apparently, John Lindstrom himself kind of said, that's his big mistake, that he didn't tell Laura what he did and he wouldn't blame her, like, for holding it against him. I
Well,
wouldn't
I
blame
hope
any
not.
wife for being upset that your spouse Kate like kept such an enormous secret. So she goes on for the whole week not remembering. But everybody like during this week is all about, trying to get Dante, try to get in touch with Dante and feeling that he should know, but she shut
Yeah.
that down.
I know. I was really surprised. She didn't want him there, but for what? To what end? She said she didn't want to ruin his cover. But dude, you like almost died.
I know she's probably like she hasn't hired any Dantes, so I gotta say something. But yeah, no, you know what? If this is Lulu the character, I kind of feel that it's part of like her resentment about him being gone. Like, if we're strictly talking character here, I wouldn't put it past her that at this point she's like, you know what, you're not here, you're not here. Because I don't really know how much she
Mm.
cares about the case he's working on.
And then she could like lure it over his head or hold it over his head.
That sounds more like her than being
Yeah.
like, his case is super important. I don't really think she's ever all that much cared or respected what he did.
The only thing I'm really surprised about during this whole thing with her waking up this week is not once did she mention that she was a Spencer. That really threw me off.
She didn't. Did Laura though?
No, because I felt like, in my head, we watch these things and we see the scenes and we know the character. I half expected her to say, "Of course I survived. I'm a Spencer."
I'm so glad she didn't. And you know what happened? I don't think it was this week. I think it was more last week. I think maybe it was this week. Sunny was saying something like, she's your daughter or she gets it from you. And then, you're right. Laura was more saying, you're Lulu, you're strong. And I was kind of finally freaking happy about that. I'm sorry. Like, Lulu, the character Lulu was a baby for a lot of like all of the Lukedom and all of, Luke being such a big character. And I just
Yes.
find like you're Lulu. Like, I know you're a Spencer and you won't let anyone forget it, but you are a different person. So I'm kind of glad that they're not saying that, because you know how much it annoys me. I'm like, just be Lulu. And if Lulu is a strong person that is really like persistent, then just be that person and stop kind of crediting your father for your strong character. And it's true. Like, all this time we credit her being like, oh, she's Luke Spencer's daughter, but you're also Laura's daughter.
100%. I really agree. It was just kind of a funny to myself as I was sitting on the couch. But another thing that made me laugh is that when Jordan was interviewing her, I think the first time, and interviewing Lulu, and Kevin's kind of peeking around the door, Kevin Ryan, I laughed because I'm like, is this like a dream sequence? Is this actually happening that he's like peeking through the door and
No,
inside?
it's him taking advantage of all the security breaches. Like, hello, you're interrogating a sole surviving witness and you couldn't close the door.
I know. I
Like,
know.
I feel like
Every time.
if ever you're gonna talk about the case, like just ever, then you just close the door. Like, every time you talk about Ryan, close the door. But I think that now that Curtis is there, like, I think the moment Curtis got hired to protect Lulu, I could breathe a sigh of relief. But I don't know how Curtis will react to Kevin. Well, Ryan. I mean, he has a good detector, like a good BS
Yes.
detector. And I mean, I trust him. Like, every time the PCPD is going off course, like especially with this effing Franco thing, I'm just like,
Oh,
where is Curtis to tell
ridiculous.
them they're being stupid? Where is Curtis to tell them you're getting off track?
I know it's incredibly frustrating. Like I can't believe they threw Franco to the mix. Like it's very frustrating. Like I don't even have any words at this point in time because it's insane to me.
It is, but one thing that, well, is less insane is the fact that they finally caught on to Lulu needing security. So they did hire Curtis, but even before that,
Mhm.
it's just like, isn't this a little late in the game? She was so fragile early on.
I
And you
know.
found
It's
Kevin in the room. And the whole thing too, like
Mhm.
when Kevin was, because he made it clear that he wanted nothing to do with Laura, and then he chases her down in the hospital, sort of being really persistent and inquiring about Lulu. And I'm glad that she shut him down, but I really wish she would shut him down harder. And what's scaring me, obviously, is that now Lulu wants to do whatever it takes to get her
I
memory back,
know.
hypnotherapy, and obviously he's the only person in town. But do you think your ex-husband is the perfect person and the brother of the serial killer, the right person for the job? And they also showed his certificate, like, that he's a hypnotherapist. Oh, but now I'm wondering if
Yes.
he'll actually manage to do it because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Good point. Oh my gosh, really good point. Because that's all the stuff I was thinking about when they were saying that. I'm like, great. So the one person's going to do it. And then they're going to say, oh, well, it can't be that. It's maybe just because he's sitting right in front of you and he looks just like him. And it's going to be like this whole other broken telephone
Well, I
situation.
thought he was going to mess with her memories. That's what I thought. But now that I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, but maybe he
Yeah,
won't
he
actually
doesn't know
succeed
how.
in hypnotizing her. And so the funny thing, too, is I was wondering this. So when Ryan was reluctant to give Jordan any records or any insight into Franco and didn't want to hand over the
Hmm.
notes, part of me was wondering, is it because he was doodling all the times he was talking to these people? That
It's
ultimately
that's
he would
so
have no
funny.
notes and somebody would see the timeline that all notes sort of ended on a specific date and then the whole pattern of notes just completely changed.
Oh, that's funny because that would be freaking hilarious because my mind just went to the fact that he caught on real quick, and if he covers up those files, it makes it look more suspicious.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen there, but I mean, I guess if Jordan can do her job, she'll go get a subpoena or whatever you need for that kind of a thing. So, what did you think about the visit to Ferncliff, Ryan and Kevin?
Oh, well, for the first time, Kevin actually seems strong. I guess they were not
Yes.
giving it as much sedatives, and it gave me hope for the fact that he's going to come up with a plan or be able to convince that nurse to get him help and get him to GH.
I don't know. That nurse is not
Okay,
bright.
but okay.
Like, she had no reaction to the patient attacking the doctor. Like, she had no reaction to what was happening there when things escalated. Not to mention, she's just listening to this one doctor. First of all, all of Ferncliff is in trouble
Mhm.
for doing these like underhanded things and clearly not following protocol. She states it's protocol to take the patient to GH when it's like
Right.
out of our specialty. So, wouldn't your job description be to go tell somebody, hey, this is the protocol and we're not following it because so and so says this? I mean, hello, Carly's doctor got switched. One doctor is not the be all and end all here. So, no, I
Well,
don't think he's going to
true.
be able to convince her to do anything.
Uh,
She's just like, I don't.
okay, but what about, so what do you think the whole prenup thing means? Because
I
that
think
kind of
that's the
threw me off.
plan. I think that's the plan because you're
Mhm.
saying, I think Kevin's coming up with a plan. I think that's it. They're throwing around the prenup. And I'm wondering if maybe Alexis like took like I'm wondering if there's basically no prenup ultimately
That's what
is what
I'm
I'm
want. That's
thinking.
exactly what I'm
And
thinking.
when Alexis didn't flinch on it, I was thinking, okay, maybe there is a prenup and maybe it's like in the details of the prenup or something that would set off a red flag. But maybe Alexis just assumes that there is one and that Laura didn't really mention it because they haven't gone full fledged into all the paperwork.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking too, that she didn't know. Plus, yeah, I think she didn't know. And then the second part to that is that I think there's a bigger story to it. Maybe Kevin and Laura had this big discussion of prenup
Yeah.
and that it means something to her, not just the fact that there's no prenup and she's going to be like, why did you ask for it? There's no prenup, but that there's like an actual backstory to it because that's the only thing that makes sense to me right now. That would be like a bulb for not that she's going to figure out that he's Ed Ferncliff, but that she'll open her eyes a little bit more.
Oh, I think so. It has to mean something. Like you could not have just said that for nothing. Okay. I kind of want to like what I really love this week. I love some Ava moments, and there was a
Me
moment.
too.
There was like a really sweet moment between Ava and Laura when she just sort of
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that she was okay. So those are the rare moments that we see the vulnerable Ava, and you can really feel and connect with her.
That is exactly what's in my notes. Like when she teared up, I teared up too. Like it was so amazing to see, but I loved how much her emotions fluctuated this week. And I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about the same thing. But when she went in to check on Lulu and what she said to her, but not only what she said, but how she said it. Did you like notice that?
What do you mean how she said it?
Okay, so when she walked into Lulu's room, she was with Kevin. I think it was like the first time they go into the room.
Oh, the
But
first
she
time.
was she
Okay.
said, yeah, she said something like a normal person, they're like, I'm so glad you're okay. And she said it like, I'm so glad you're like she used like her angry voice to ask her if she was okay. And it was weird because she was showing concern, but she was so emotionally raw that it just came out like she was really angry.
Oh my gosh, I totally didn't notice that, but it also kind of matches the tone of her as the week progresses because she
Yeah.
unravels. Like we're seeing a different side of her grief. We're seeing desperation because she's not just grieving the loss of her daughter. Her daughter died at the hands of somebody, and they're closing in on it, and she wants answers. So she's starting to lose it a little bit. So much so that she even tracked down Olivia. That
Oh,
somehow she remembered this piece of information that I think many people who've watched GH have tried so hard to forget. That
yeah.
Olivia once had powers. And part of me just kept thinking, if you're really desperate for Olivia to help you out, just pump her with LSD because that's how these premonitions had started anyway.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Could you imagine that might be step two?
Well, that's the thing. Ava can't find out about that part of it. But I kind of forgot that she may have like shot Olivia in the stomach. And I love how they can like be civil. And I don't understand why, like, when she went up to Olivia, she was like, how Carly feels about you being here. What are you talking about? Clearly, they don't like it, but Ava is there all the time. Like,
Yeah,
all
they
the
have a
time.
truce. They have a
Yeah.
truce. We heard it a couple of episodes
So
ago.
I honestly didn't even understand why that needed to come up. So that whole thing when she goes to see Olivia, I was like, I'm glad that Olivia acknowledged that it's okay, like to Sunny when he came to intervene to be
Mm,
like, it's all good. Like I feel for her. I would feel the same way. I was hoping that Sunny would kind of ask what's going on and show a little bit of compassion toward, Ava in that moment. But everything
we
shifted real fast to Dante. And Olivia feels, well, everyone but Lulu feels that he should be contacted.
absolutely.
And so I love Brick. I love it. It's like the only way I'll ever get to know a sports figure is if they're like on Dancing with the Stars or become like Michael Strahan, a host of a
Uh,
show that I watch, or just on General Hospital. So I love that he popped in and also mentioned Toronto. Well, it's not Montreal, but it's still Canada. And, and so that they're searching for him. But I'm wondering what this means because Lulu shuts it down. But then in the story, we are searching for Dante. Somebody is, his parents are at the very least. But the guy, but he's off the grid. The guy Raj is off the
exactly.
grid, which means we can't find Dante. So I am starting to wonder, are they going to bring him back as maybe somebody else?
I hope so. I think that would lend for some interesting storylines, and we can get like a real close to it and have that character move on in a different way.
Or unless he stays and things are just not the same and he may stay in the show but not stay with Lulu. I think that would also be
Mhm.
kind of fun to see.
I agree. Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
But did you like love? Okay, so when Sunny brings Brick over to Olivia, did you not love that he's trying to like introduce Olivia? I love how he like never introduces her as sort of like an ex or somebody he's with. He's like, this is Dante's mom. We grew up together, like very, which is it's fine. They're both married to other people.
Truth.
But then when I love how he's like, Olivia goes, oh, and then she's like Quartermain. He's like, I can never get used to that. She's like, we'll try. And I'm like, it was so Olivia to take that moment to shove it in his face. And another line that I actually liked from Olivia today was when they were talking about Dante, and she was like, I'm a mother, I'm an Olympian at worrying. Because
Oh my God,
it's
get
true
out of
though.
my head. I have that literally like written down.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck in there. I can't get out.
That's okay. I know I've had you trapped in there for decades.
I know we've already kind of passed this, but can I just reiterate how irritated I am that they're going after Franco? Can I just repeat that? It's so
You can't
stupid.
because I think it's so ridiculous. Like it's making me mad.
Like you're police, okay? So ask the right question. Stop asking questions like, what do you think the producer wanted to talk to you
Uh,
about? I don't know. He's dead. I can't really ask him. That is not a question for Franco. It's a question for the producer. Like, get to the right question, which they eventually did was, did you talk to him? Like
okay,
somebody could want to talk to you and I can write about you all day in my journals, but then it could be that I never spoke to you ever. Like, hello. I'm so
but here's
angry.
the
So
thing,
angry.
that producer also contacted Curtis. Curtis
Right,
is a link
right. I
between
wrote that
all of the
down.
people who have been hurt as well. They were at Curtis's wedding, the murder. He's like, we could just pick Curtis out of like a lineup and say, hey, these people are associated to you in this way because everybody is connected in Port Charles.
Which is why I'm so annoyed. It's just that you let go of that real fast. The connection between Curtis and the producer, Curtis and all the people in town. You let go of that real fast,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then you don't apply that logic when it came to Franco. I'm just saying you had no reason to suspect him earlier. You went to him because you wanted his expertise. Not once did any evidence suggest this. So the fact that the producer wrote a sticky note, fine, it's something to follow up on, but I personally don't think it's something that sends you that you should just go into this direction full-fledged. It just goes to show that they have no direction and they're really desperate. Like the moment she was talking to Curtis earlier in the week going, oh, Lulu doesn't remember, it's like we got to get back at it. It's like now we got to work because somebody won't really like hand us this one. But yeah, that was really special. So not
Oh,
only
I
does
agree.
Ava have her moments, her emotional moments where she's showing concern for Lulu, like we said, she kind of is getting into desperate zone. She goes to see Olivia, but then she comes back to Lulu and her and Laura kind of face off.
Oh my gosh, do they ever? And it was a little bit intense. She's like, you have to remember because, Ava's kind of, yelling at her, forcing her. That's not going to make anything better. And I like that Laura followed her out and that it started as an elevated conversation, but in the end, it was kind of like, okay, we understand each other and we're going to have this mutual respect for one another. And so it
That's what
was
I
nice there.
liked. The mutual
Mhm.
respect at the end, the setting of boundaries, but even funnier than all of that was Laura's inability of knowing how to hug Ava. Because if this was any other human being, you would go in for the hug or you'd be like
Yeah.
inclined to do that. And I just love how she like reaches out. It was like, I'm gonna sort of maybe touch your forearm and you all right, Ava? You good? Like
We good?
it was
We good?
I'm sorry, that was so funny, but like the Ava moments didn't really end there. I'm sorry. Her convo with Julian,
Loved it. Loved it. Talk about being like
amazing.
sister and like just putting him in his place. It was beautiful.
Like I have to 100% agree with her opinion, especially in response to somebody who says the words I'm doing her a favor. Like in that context 100% I think Ava's right because this is how she understands it. But I just have to point out that I'm beyond irritated with the whole Julian and Kim thing. And I
Hmm.
don't think Julian is 100% in the wrong. The girl does not act interested in him all that much and that's all I have to say about that for now. But I just loved how angry she got at him. Like he was pretty scared, like so scared that he actually went to go talk to Kim.
Okay, it was like little brother scared. Like I love how Julian was like listening to her, like he just became this little kid again. Like, oh
It's
man,
like
my
a
sister's
puppy.
like super mad at me, and I maybe I should do this. I'm gonna go do this. Okay, bye.
Yeah, so when he was talking to Kim in her apartment, I was kind of like, okay, he's telling her I owe us to tell you the truth. I'm just like, that's not why you're there. It's because you're scared of your sister and not so much for Kim. And he goes on to say I love you and she goes on to like not respond to anything. I don't think she even responded until like a day later cuz he went to see her on Thursday. And I think Friday she's still not saying much in response to Julian.
No, he had to go back and said, "Hey, maybe we should like kind of close the loop on the conversation we had. I gave you some time to think." Then I felt like he kept like taking a step forward and then taking a step back.
Yeah,
Like,
he
I love
was.
you, but you need to be with Drew. But I like being with you. You may be a better person, but I'm gonna leave this in your hands. Like, it was hilarious to watch. And then when she finally grabbed him and kissed him, I was like, okay, this is gonna work for a little bit longer, but probably not too much longer.
No, it's not going to work. And I'm just saying, the guy has said he loved you. He comes back and he's talking to you. You're just getting upset because, like, you're making decisions without me. I'm sorry. At what point in time did you interrupt him and say, hey, I want to be with you and not Drew? At what point did you
Oh,
come
yes.
out and give this guy reason to want to be with you? Like, I'm so tired of this because she's like the good girl. Of course, she can't have any faults. Julian's an ex mob guy. He's the bad guy. He's trying to reform. So he has to be the bad person in all this, and he 100% has to be at fault. Like, even when she was with Drew earlier, she was kind of complaining about him and how he slept with somebody, and it's just like he didn't wasn't the only one to do anything wrong. Like, the things she did were very subtle and unsaid. She excluded him from her life. She excluded him from very big parts,
I
and
agreed.
and she won't admit that, in this time. I'm sorry, when she went to go kiss him, I was like, you want one thing from this man. Like, you don't want the relationship. He's made
I
it clear from the start that he wants more with her. And like he says, he loves her. She makes him a better person. But she's never been 100% on board. She's all like, let's see how this goes. I think she just wants to sleep with him. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, he wants something more. And I can't believe she wants something more with someone she can't even bring herself to call by their actual name and calls him like a pet name of the place that he owns. It's not even a pet name. It's just it's too flirtatious. She's stuck at the flirty stage, and I think that's all she really wants right now. And in her time of need, I'm sorry, like, you're gonna tell me that you want to spend your time with Julian during all of this darkness, and you rather not be like with Drew? Like, I think she's just lying to herself.
I think she's lying to herself too. And the thing is, one of the things that she mentioned, so you said, yeah, Julian said, I love you to Kim. I don't think I remember Kim saying it back. All
She
she said
didn't.
was, you make me laugh. I enjoy my time with you. You make me forget about what's happening. And then she kissed him. So, yeah, she is so not on the same page as him. And she just
No.
wants a good time. And that's poor Julian is just exactly that, this little puppy that really cares for her. And it's his first normal relationship as an adult in Port Charles. So he's like, all about it. But I agree. She has no idea what she wants. I really do believe that her and Drew are going to end up together just because of the
Mm-hmm.
way they keep maneuvering this whole situation, and that Julian's just a way to buy time and have fun.
I think so too, like 100%. But the thing is, like, in this, like, I mean, look, I think he'll eventually find his way back to Alexis. But I love how, like, for now, he truly is and genuinely is in love with Kim. And just to prove that he's over Alexis and she's not so much over him, it was so funny. First of all, Julian and Alexis were at the hospital for no apparent reason earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And she bumps into him and goes, I'm thinking about you. And I'm like, well, obviously, you're always thinking about him. You're always where he is. And then Julian kind of called her on her involvement in his love life. And he was dismissing her. He was just like, okay, got it. Like, why are you so interested? And I was kind of happy. I'm like, okay, so this is not in my head. Like, he's starting to notice her over involvement in this area in his life, and it's just not appropriate.
I agree. I thought it was pretty funny. And he said something else that kind of made me laugh when Alexis turned the corner. She's like, "Oh, I was thinking about you," or "I'm happy to see you," or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, that's a change of pace," or "That's nice to hear," or something like that. Like, he made a
Yeah.
comment as to be like, yeah, I thought it was really kind of funny because he just says these direct things, even in his scene with
Yes, he's so
Drew.
funny.
Yeah, like Drew was, coming down on him for like, you're doing this, you're doing that. He's like, wow, yeah, I'm really making her miserable. I got her a cleaner for her house. Like,
I know. Yeah, that one. Like, it was so funny because every time Drew goes to confront Julian, he's very underprepared because he doesn't know what's happening. He's missing information.
I know. He keeps forgetting to read the script pages.
Well, Kim leaves stuff out, like, she just leaves stuff out. And well, I mean, they didn't talk. Obviously, he had showed up after to say that he loved her, but he just doesn't know what's going on between Kim and Julian, just like Alexis doesn't know what's going on between Kim and Julian. I mean, Kim doesn't even know how she feels about Julian. So everyone kind of running around on behalf of Kim just irritates the crap out of me because what makes you think you know what she wants? And then when Drew kept going on saying, like, she was really hurt, and I'm like, was she?
Really?
She didn't seem hurt. She seemed irritated that she got dumped.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I don't think she was all that hurt. And I don't think he did anything to really hurt her. I think she just doesn't let him into his life. And it's this really, really subtle thing. And she kind of gets to get away with it. So she does these little behaviors that make him feel insecure. And he's picking up on it, being like, I just don't feel like you have room for me. And then he's not wrong, but she won't really admit that. So that bugs
She
me.
makes him feel exactly, and she makes him feel like it's in his head.
So poor puppy dog Drew. Carly builds him up. She sees him and starts planting those ideas. And I like that conversation because she let him know, look, we have a separate friendship. I care about you separate from Jason and Sam. And in a very, I find, subtle way, she was kind of just going, you deserve somebody for you. And I feel like even when she was saying what he deserved, I felt like it was acknowledging at the same time, look, Sam wasn't for you. It sucks. You thought you were another person, and then you weren't. You're not her husband. So she doesn't want to be with you. Okay? We're all good. We can go back to being friends, but I'm still wanting you to be happy. And I think I'm glad that she made that distinction. So maybe he can feel comfortable picking up on a friendship with Carly. But
Yeah.
it's just hard. Like, you can't read Drew, and it's hard to feel all that bad for him, because he does these things on Kim's behalf, like telling off Drew more than once, even though he never comes out winning. And then when he goes to see her at the apartment, she's not like, I'm back with Julian. And then I love how he made so many facial expressions in the span of a second, and I still had no idea what he was thinking.
I know, it was so funny. So I giggled at that part, and then when she's all like uppity, and she instead, like you would normally touch a guy's maybe chest or his arm, her hands went really low.
I didn't see that. I love all the things that you pick up on. Maybe you need more than a massage this week. I don't know.
Oh my god, I'm coughing.
I'm sorry. I've ignited your sickness.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you made me all phlegmy. All right, let's continue.
Okay, so since we're talking about all these folks who like to hang out around Charlie's, Willow?
Willow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't understand what the attraction is, but so
To
she's
Charlie's?
yes, to Charlie's, and then she's there, and then Michael
I
comes
want to
in.
go.
Well, me too. They make it seem so awesome. Like they're
But
out
it
these
is.
days,
It's like this
so
new
creative.
hipster. It's like they're little hipster area, and everyone keeps saying the avocado toast, which makes me wonder. No one's asking for a BLT anymore. Aw,
Interesting. So true. Kelly's is out. Charlie's is in.
pretty
New
much.
first names. Interesting. Who is Kelly? Who is Charlie? Anyway, so Michael comes in with that super cute baby who always steals the scene.
Oh my
And
gosh, isn't it funny? This baby is just hilarious. Like no matter how serious, he's got a reaction to things. Timing, great timing. It's great comedic timing for a baby, I would say.
he's so super cute. So there's that whole thing going on, and Willow is acting more normal with this baby, even though she knows, that it's
Hey,
hers and all that stuff. So it's a much more normal interaction.
you're skipping something.
Oh my gosh, wait, wow, am I?
She said she does yoga.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so funny because when I
They're
watched it, I thought of
listening.
you, and I'm like, oh my
And
god,
I
they're
thought of you.
thing.
I thought of you because I thought of what I told you.
So yeah, that's what's fun about watching it too. So not only do I sit there and make my own comments in my head, you're almost sitting beside me in my head making these comments with me.
So I just think Christina needs to be teaching yoga post cult life.
Agreed. Another funny moment was when Michael starts talking about his family and it gets a little complicated, and then Joss and Oscar walk over and then he introduces them. And we always talk about the whole Port Charles family tree and how connected everybody is. But he literally said it out loud, and it really confused my brain for a minute because he's like, "Oh, here's Oscar, my cousin, and here's Joss, my sister." And I'm like, "But how
Oscar's
my
a
brain hurts."
Oscar's a quartermain. But
Right.
what's even funnier about that scene, I was just like, don't be shy, Michael. Tell her your cousin is dating your sister. Don't hold back now. Tell
I was
Willow.
like,
And
"Here's what's
not
next."
only that, he withheld other information too. When Willow asked him, how's Lulu doing? Then Willow started talking about Rocco. And then Michael was like, well, yeah, Rocco's staying with his grandmother. Hello, his grandmother lives with you. Rocco is staying with you too. And I was just like, why are you leaving out these little details? It was really funny.
Maybe he heard himself say it out loud and he's like, wow, this is really messed up. I'm
He's
gonna
like,
stop talking.
he's like, I'm not gonna let her know that I live with like my nephew's grandma, my brother's mother, but
It's
it's
not
like we have
legitimate.
different moms, and my cousin's mother-in-law, I live with her. She's the same person. It might come off weird, and the house is big. It's a mansion, so it's not super awkward.
So it's like I have my own wing, so don't even worry about it, Willow. I can chill on the other end of the house.
And the thing is, you know, like, yeah, exactly. When you come over, we'll have our own space. Oh gosh, don't worry, my cousin and sister won't be around. I don't live with her.
My sister,
Like,
brother, my cousin, friend. Like it's all so confusing.
but we're obviously not the only ones who've noticed this. So Kristen underscore Jolene on Instagram was like, literally everyone's cousin is dating their sibling, and it's true. I don't want to do the math because my brain's gonna hurt, but it's true. I know it's true.
It's true.
So in that
I think,
conversation, like that,
yeah.
like so they're all like chit chatting, and it was cute. I like it when characters just kind of like interact like that. And that baby though, that baby, he kept like giving the cutest little facial reactions during that whole thing. He was really a complete scene sealer in that whole thing.
Super cute. But what I thought was funny too, so there was like a lot of stuff going on in that scene. So then Brad finally comes in. He convinces,
Ugh.
the hubby to go to the hospital. And then Julian's trying to be all or casual about the situation. Like, Brad, can you come over here for a second?
I know it was really
I-
funny.
like I need to. So but Brad wasn't, they had that continued the scene at the hospital,
But I
and he was
wanted
kind of upset with Julian that he told him that. He's like, why did I need to know that?
so that you would not like keep
Say
bringing
something
your
stupid.
baby around her. Well, it's not even that. You know, he wants to get closer with her. He wants to talk with Willow. That might result in spending more time with Willow and a stronger connection with this woman, who may then in turn demand more time with her baby. Who knows? Who knows what she'll do the closer she gets?
Exactly. Maybe and the whole thing is like, how is this going to come out? Like, I just keep thinking about all these different scenarios. Like, I don't want the baby to be sick. Like, I don't want a situation like that to happen again. We've had
No.
enough of the kids being sick, but how is this going to come out? Is this a Brad thing? Is this a Julian thing? Is it an Obrick thing? Like, what's going to happen? I'm very, like, I can't wait.
Well, I would like to hope that they would steer clear of another sick kid, but I
Me too.
liked what you pointed out. I like that you pointed out Obrecht. You know, Willow could also be it. Maybe she'd had enough and maybe she would be like, that's my baby. And they might look into it further because if she stakes claims to the baby, it's up to Brad to decide, do I share my baby? What if she wants the baby back completely? So, I mean, there are other possibilities. And Brad and his franticness kind of listed a bunch of listed how that could happen to Julian in the hospital when Lucas walked in.
True.
By the way, Lucas has just been looking hotter and hotter. I don't know if it's like the longer curly hair. It's just he's been looking really good. But in terms of like,
Agreed.
so like we said, we don't want the baby being sick. I don't know. How do you feel about like an adult like breaking with reality?
What do you mean?
So Melissa Schultz on at the Pretty Pixie on Twitter said Willow showed in that scene, so when they were at Charlie's, that her interest in Michael is 100% baby related, and I kind of have to agree. She's got a lot more going on with Chase, who also knows about her past. And then she goes on to say, it makes me wonder if she'll break with reality when the truth is revealed that her child died. Will she accept it, or will she go nuts and either steal the baby or try to marry Michael because of it?
Here's the thing. I think that's an interesting angle. And Michael always falls for like a little bit of crazy, a little bit of weak. So this might actually happen. I can see it happening.
You know what, Michael? Michael needs a Dawn of Day seminar.
He does.
But before we get there, there was just some other people. So I just want to kind of mention Paul Broadway, NYC mentioned the baby playing Wiley is adorable. And I have to agree, like, he's just so amazing. Like, I can't stop staring at his face during the scenes. And okay, so
Yeah.
this is a little insane, though. So you mentioned how Oscar and Joss are also a part of that conversation. So
Yeah.
what do you think of this insane? This is definitely soap territory. So
Okay.
Elizabeth 4349 says, is Joss going to decide she needs a baby to remember Oscar by? Remember, you hypothesized last week that they might secretly get married, and then she gets
Yeah.
pregnant, yet Oscar doesn't die. Just wondering. I don't want
Oh,
to wonder about that
um,
though.
gee, I don't even want to let my brain go there because I don't think we've had
No,
like a teen pregnancy
on the
situation.
show, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I mean, I don't like. I just don't want her to be like attached to Oscar because
Me
I
too.
feel that she needs room to grow, so maybe she can go with Cameron for a little bit.
I
And
agree.
if
Like
and if Oscar lives, then who knows? That might be this forever love triangle, kind of like how Sunny and Jax was this forever love triangle, whether it was with Brenda or whether it was with Carly.
oh, that's a very good point. Like I like the idea of them getting married, like that being a thing, but I want to like not even think about the baby situation.
But yeah, I thought that was really funny, and I was like, I hope not. You're scaring me by saying these things.
Seriously, me too. Oh no. Take it back. Take it back.
Yes. Okay. So we're just talking about Michael, and I just it's making me think of one comment that I saw this week. So Nana Do Go on Instagram said, I'm so tired of this storyline. She's talking about the Ryan Kevin storyline. I think a lot of people are too. But she's like, Crying needs to go, merging the names, loving it. She's like, Michael needs his baby, and Shiloh needs to hit the road, and so on. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Like, of course, I want Michael to have his baby eventually. Oh yeah, about Michael's baby. So it's getting out of hand, like we were talking about. We don't know how the truth is going to come to light, but we are starting to see that it's really going to have a huge impact. Julian's aware. We have Willow. It's not her actual baby. We have
Yeah.
Michael. We have we have a lot of people that are going to be heavily impacted by the storyline, and it's making me remember when Elizabeth hid the fact that John Doe was Jason, because I
Ooh.
feel like it's the equivalent to that level of deceit. And
Right.
unlike that storyline, I'm hoping this one has a more satisfying close to it. Like
Oh,
I
I can
felt
hope
that
so.
more, like I felt like more hell should have broken loose with Elizabeth. I felt like more people should have had a stronger opinion. Like I swear, somebody on Instagram or somewhere on social media, they meant like, you're a soap fan when there's like one storyline you're unsatisfied with that you hold on to, you just like never let go. And that's the one that I just can't let go of. I don't find it had a satisfying ending, which is why I don't mind when the storyline is not over, because the whole Nell thing took a long time, but man, was that ending satisfying. And that's what I'm hoping for the whole Ryan thing. What I'm hoping for Michael and his baby is just, fine. It's going on, and that's okay. It makes for story, but I really want there to be like a satisfying close. I think that matters more to me than it kind of dragging on as it is right now. So Shiloh. So
Oh,
freaking
that's Shiloh.
Shiloh. So Dawn of Day.
Oh.
Dawn of Day. What do you
Where
think
where do
about
we even where do we even start?
okay, so what about Sam, who decides that she's gonna infiltrate Dawn
I'm
of
surprised
Day?
that didn't happen sooner. I'm surprised it
Really?
took this long for her to come up with this idea. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I'm as slow as Sam because I, I, didn't, I didn't really think about that either. But when she comes home, she's like, "We need to break up." I'm like, "Why are you messing with him? Why don't you just leave?" Like, he hasn't had any in 6 years. He had to come back, watch you married to somebody who thinks that they were him, and wait for you, like, wait for you to find yourself, and then you're gonna go tell him we need to break up and try to, and like, I'm sorry, I'm so angry. You should have just led with, I have a plan. We're not gonna break up for real. Just don't scare the guy. He just got
I
some. You're
know.
gonna
I
take it
know. And
away.
the expression on his face, and he was so confused as she was explaining, okay, like in public it's this, but right now we should go upstairs. But when we do this, he's like, well, what's happening? I thought we're not supposed to go upstairs. She's like, we're going upstairs.
I know, poor guy was confused, but so was everybody else watching. And
Yes.
what was laughing to me? No, what was laughing? You think I'm the one with the head cold? Okay, you had to have picked this up. You had to have picked this up, and please tell me you rewound a few times. So when she was
Mhm.
having that conversation with him, she then tries to do air quotes,
Yeah.
and then she like tried to like wink and air quote at the same time, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, how did they even get through that scene? Because clearly they only did one take on that one.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. I kept rewinding, and I'm like, that is so funny.
Yeah, those their scenes together are just awesome. Like I love it. They're great.
They're so good. Okay, so she wants to infiltrate Dawn of Day, which is like, bleh. So, I'm sorry for anybody who had to hear that sound. I hope you're not already nauseous. Okay, so you were right again. So Daisy, well, maybe I was right too. Okay, so maybe.
Are you having an argument with yourself? Because I'm not in this conversation.
Well, I mean, they showed Daisy in the newspaper, so we all knew that it was Daisy doing
Yeah.
that. But now, do you think, like Sam, do you think that Daisy believes what she's doing, but ultimately he manipulated her into doing what she did?
1000%. And that's the whole point
Cool.
why Sam needs to be there because, okay, I did see a preview. It's like just like a super
No,
teeny
don't
tiny.
tell
No, no, no,
me.
no, no, not a preview. I'm just saying the look that Shiloh is giving Sam when she
Yeah.
decides, like the whole like she's playing weak. It's like
Yeah.
you see that he wants to prey on people. Like he just
Oh,
wants to find the
gross.
weak people. So like he's very good at that because Shiloh's just like a normal guy. Like he's just like a normal dude. But as a soap opera character, he super creeps. And he has that look when he's looking at Christina, when he's looking at Alexis,
Yeah.
any of those people. And when he does that stern voice and he's like, ask again when Christina and Alexis are together.
Oh.
Like, this is so weird. It creeps me out every single time. But yes, I do believe that Sam is on the right track. That, Daisy may not full on know it because she's so deep into it, that she does feel that she was doing it for the greater good. But ultimately, it was him that was manipulating the situation and
So,
feeding her maybe pieces of the puzzle to get her to where she needed to be, like Shiloh feeding Daisy pieces of the puzzle.
I mean, we've talked about different reasons for you to move back to Montreal, but I think there is a one strong reason. So when we were talking about it, and you're like, and I said, "Hey, do you think like Shiloh manipulated Daisy into doing that?" And you're like, 1,000%. I'm like, oh, I wasn't sure if you did or not. So maybe you should have to move back just to supervise me because it looks like I can get dragged into a cult. I'm super gullible. Like half the time, I'm like, I believe you, Shiloh. What else do you got for me?
Oh my God, if I see a Donna Day book at your house, you're in trouble. We're going to FaceTime more.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. Okay, so I'm sorry. Like,
Okay,
is
I just
Shiloh?
have to cut you off for 1 second, because
You
I just
better
had this
not steal my
popping up in my
observation.
house.
Go, go.
No, it's an observation about you and your hubby. Like people may not know, but we are very close. I know your husband and I call him my episodes of TV and I watch you and your husband banter. And I
Uh
can almost
huh.
hear a little fight with you saying him, "What do you want from me? What do you want from me?"
When he was, yeah, that stupid conversation, like, oh my gosh. Like, first of all, when he was badgering Alexis, her one job was to ask the one question over and over again. So that's why when Shiloh was like on her butt about that, I was just like, what do you mean dig deeper? Ask it harder? Like, I don't understand. And like, I had no idea that part of being a cult leader, I mean, you also had to moonlight as a bobblehead. Did you notice how much he was bobbling his head between them? I couldn't even focus. I'm like, how is anyone supposed to take you seriously when you're bobbling your head around so much? Like, he was so annoying. This is why he can't work outside of that house because you're
No,
yelling at people and you're pushing them to do things. And I mean, at least Christina respected when Alexis said it was too much for her. Like, it works for Christina, and Alexis is kind enough to point out that this is something that Christina connects with, but just not her. Alexis does her own kind of thing. Like, I think it's AA, like her support group at the hospital. And I mean, it took her a while, but Alexis can talk, and this context, no. But I have to say, like, even though Donna Day is obviously bad, right? Because that's how they're
yeah,
portraying it. Just confirming it's bad.
it's
Christina.
bad, Mish. It's bad.
So Christina, I liked where she was trying to go. And I just think it's going to be really hard for her because she's trying so hard to better herself. She's even going as far to reaching out to her mom on a level she's never really had to
Yeah.
find mutual understanding with the hopes of being closer. And I just think that she's going to be crushed at the end of the day. And I don't know what that's going to do to her trying to like be a better person and have better relationships in her life. I think it really sucks. But I did love that part about Christina, like in her growth, but still. And I kind of think that the money trail is going to be the main thing to take him down because everybody won't stop asking how he affords things.
I agree. It's definitely some foreshadowing, some very obvious foreshadowing as to where the money's coming from. But I did like Christine and Alexis. I think that's the first scene in a really long time that they didn't argue. They really had like a conversation between the two of them on an even level. Alexis said,
Yeah.
"I'm really sorry." She said things that if she had normally said them, Christina would have just like lost it because she's like, "I want you to know that I do respect you and I do have a specific way that I thought you should be living, but in the end, it's your life." Like that is huge for them to have that conversation. And if anything, like you said, that comes out of it, this is the good thing. And with Christina, with Dawn of Day ending, I kind of see it two ways. If they want to play into this whole yoga thing, so maybe she will leave with the fact that yes, this was a very messed up situation, but it did help her grow and see things in a different light and manage her relationships better. And that could be the stepping stone for yoga, yogi, and yoga studio.
I really hope so. I really do hope that she comes out better on the other end, and also just a bit more certain of herself. Like, I just don't want her to go through like her whole character on General Hospital constantly being lost. I think there's so much potential for her character. But there is one thing that kind of bothers me about this whole storyline. I mean, we can't say that certain, like a lot of what happens, like you said, are foreshadowing. People have certain information for a reason. And
Mhm.
so I just don't understand how Oscar could have been involved in this. You know, he was connected to Daisy, he was connected to Christina, he lived in the house. Shiloh came to visit him. I just don't see how he's just not going to be a piece of this puzzle. Like,
I
what was the
agree.
point of having him that involved and then he's just on his merry way?
I find that very confusing. I think it's why are you leaving out this missing piece? Or is he going to remember something later? Is he so focused on his situation right now? But then once he hears what's going on, because he did develop that relationship with Christina.
Yeah,
And then when maybe he hears that Sam has moved into that house, maybe that will trigger something.
maybe that would be really cool. Because remember, we kind of said that, like, maybe something could happen between him and Christina. Maybe not
Yeah.
now because he still looks like childlike, but
Yeah.
maybe.
When
I
he like
think
grows up a little bit, glows up, or whatever they call it, the cool kids.
I think that would be really interesting. I would like to get Oscar pulled back into that. It might be a nice break. Like, if they don't speed up his illness too much, I think it would be a nice break where rather than getting stuck in a hole so Jason and Sam can do it, that maybe they get caught up in a real adventure, like cult stuff.
Cult adventures. Yeah, I agree.
So speaking of new adventures, Robert and Anna and Finn are on the case.
They're so funny. They make me laugh so much because it's like Robert and Finn trying to defend Anna, and Anna's like, I swear it's not me. I have a twin sister. It's like, did Finn know that she had a twin sister?
He does know because she was swapped out for a while.
Oh, was she? See, like I wasn't watching back then. So I was a little bit thrown off. I'm like, what is
Yeah, she
happening?
she was swapped out for a while, and then her evil twin, if you will, took her. And so at this point she had already had her cancer, so she gets these phlebotomy treatments. So she was being held captive, but she was still getting her treatments. And
Okay.
then the twin sister was in Port Charles, and she was getting awfully close with Valentine. Like,
Uh,
Valentine was like just there in it. And
oh,
so
okay.
yeah, so her evil twin was there for a while, and Finn, yeah, did come to know about this, which is why I was like, why was this not everyone's first thought? It's not like it was
Right?
that long ago. It's like, you know,
It's
there's another human being that looks exactly like her.
so yeah, when she's like, no, it's not me, no, it's not me. And then she's like, wait a second, I know what this could be. Like it was so dramatic for nothing. Like
It was dramatic for nothing, as was Kevin's hissy fit. It was dramatic for nothing. But I guess it had a purpose when they were interrogating him in the hospital. Well, obviously it had a purpose. He wanted them to leave him alone. And like a child, when you scream a lot, we're like, I don't want to deal with you. And they left. So that was funny. And it's just because the thing is, I guess I don't know the history, and I assume that because these were more long-standing characters like Kevin and Anna, I just assumed that they would have crossed more. Because now when Finn, you know, an outsider, he's new to town, is asking them information about Kevin, I don't know, he almost seems like a stranger to them.
absolutely, like he hasn't really connected with them, I guess,
It doesn't
across
doesn't
cultures. It's
seem like
weird.
it, which is odd because Kevin, in theory, is close with Mac.
Right.
So it is kind of weird that she wouldn't know more about his character and more about him. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. And then he shows back up and goes, wait a minute, I do remember when I stopped
So
screaming like
funny.
a baby. I remembered a bunch of stuff my twin told me about this situation.
Ta-da!
But the only other twins on the show who haven't caught the blind virus is Jason and Drew.
That's what I was thinking. So I'm like, are they going to be involved into this, or are they going to just leave them alone because they've been through freaking enough?
They've had like so many storylines that I'm pretty sure they can sit this one out. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see how the story evolves if it is really just sort of like Anna and what's his face? Kevin.
I think that's another way. It's another way
Kevin.
to link things together for people to like open their eyes as to why he didn't know.
Open
Like
their eyes.
start stirring and asking more questions. Yeah, open their eyes, they go blind.
I'm sorry. I'm like whispering out like these creepy things in the background while you're talking. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's what I mean. There's so like, because you asked how will they solve the baby switch, but it's the same thing with this one. Like, I am intrigued with the Ryan storyline, because there are so many different avenues to coming to a close, because so many different people are caught up in it and so many different people have a piece to the puzzle in that storyline, which reminds me of a comment that someone had. So, and I agree with this person. Terry L. Kershaw said, "What was the point of Spinelli finding out Wilson was part of the mystery patient's name if they don't use that information?" Same thing like what I was saying
Agreed.
about Oscar. You know, if Oscar was involved with Dawn of Day, why are they not using him? So yeah, so there's just so many avenues of coming of this Ryan storyline coming to a close. But yes, when the hell is this Wilson name going to come to fruition? Because literally, Laura just has to say that this was an alias, like matching it
Exactly.
with what Carly knows.
But wouldn't that be in Lulu's story too?
Yep. It should be if she's a good fact checker. It should be that. Yeah. Yeah. So she should know it.
Yeah, so this name, everybody has got this name, but they're doing nothing with it, and they're not talking to each other.
They're not doing anything with it. And like this person said, Terry said, Spinelli was the one that found out the name. Spinelli also happens to be in town. And I kind of thought the same thing like this person did. So Simon said, I think Spinelli will catch Kevin because he was on the way to the hospital to see Lulu. So that day where he was lurking around her hospital room, I kind of thought that
Yeah.
maybe like Spinelli would get clued in that something was a
Oh
little
yeah.
off because he was supposed to have gone to see Lulu, but I
How long
guess
does it take
not.
to get to the hospital? How long does it take to get there?
I don't think he made it, so I don't know if he's all right.
Because usually, they pop in the scene, they pop out, and he's been trying to get there for like 4 days.
Yep, yep.
Okay, I'm gonna keep
So
an eye
we
on
we
that.
don't. Yeah. So who knows if he'll ever be found again? Really.
Oh, that's gonna be
So I
big.
know we're laughing,
Hmm.
and so for that reason, I think we need to not laugh no more. I think we need to talk
Oh
about
yeah.
one of the more, I don't know, it was an amazing scene this week. So we saw that Sonny was starting to come to this place where he was understanding and becoming a bit more accepting that Mike might require more than he's able to give, and that Mike was doing worse. But the scene was just so nice. Like, I mean, Sonny was saying goodbye to his dad, but at the same time, his dad was like excited to be with his girlfriend and
I
excited to move in with Yvonne. So it was like bittersweet because they had to do this really hard thing. But Mike is kind of like on board for his own reasons, not fully grasping the, how hard the whole thing was.
It was very mixed emotions. I am happy though that this is how they decided to make that transition in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like the writing and it was emotional, but like you said, there was sadness, there was happiness. The part that caught me off guard is when he left his gloves upstairs and Sonny slowly opened his suitcase. I was like, oh my God, Mike's gonna come down and flip out. What is
Real, because
happening right now?
do you know what? I kind of thought at this point, I thought that Sunny was going to find something that would sort of trigger a new storyline. Like, I thought maybe that Mike would have had something that seemed mysterious. Like, I thought he would have found something that maybe Mike had never told him
Ooh.
about. That's what I
That
thought
would
was
have
going
been
to
interesting.
happen.
That would have been interesting, but my brain wasn't even there. I was just like, close the suitcase. What are you doing? Oh my
Well,
God, don't ruin the scene.
I love that he slipped in a picture of them too. And I mean, I don't think that the actor is like no longer going to be on the show. Obviously, they're just sort of following a normal transition, and we might actually see less of him, but he'll definitely still be there. I think they're doing a very good job of telling the story. So, and a lot of people agree. So Debo Milot said this has been an emotional ride, forgiveness, love, family. Completely agree. A lot of people were commenting on how powerful the scene was. So Granny Buck 2B said that was a powerful scene. Well done, guys. Heart wrenching. Makes you stop and think about all the people and their families who are affected by this disease. And there were a lot of people commenting about how they could sort of relate to this storyline, that they've lived it too. So that was really like, I don't know. I think it was just really, really touching. And a lot of other people. So Crazy Mom X6 said I had tears at the end of Sunny's scene. Nana Bobby '08 said this was so sad. They have such chemistry together. Stock
Right.
Wife said one of the great moments of GH for sure. Absolutely, such fine and talented actors, and I really think this is why GH is so amazing. They're so amazing in telling these stories that are very rooted in reality and connecting with their audience. And another one, so Carria Skew said very emotional scene, great acting.
I agree, but there was one also silver lining comment compliment comment. Oh my God.
You can merge
You know
those
what I'm
words
talking about.
together. Yes,
Go on,
I
go on.
do. So kind of to switch gears because it was really heavy. It was really emotional, but I absolutely enjoyed this comment. So Katie underscore Norris said, Carly has the best hair. And I have to, I don't disagree. Carly always has the most amazing hair. So aside from all of the emotion, the amazing connection in that scene and the way that it touched a lot of people, Carly has great hair.
I agree, and I can't believe you let my sick brain go on with that conversation for so long until you stopped me.
So sorry. And so like so one
Uh,
thing that a lot of people were capturing in their comments, especially people who've lived the experience and then people who haven't lived the experience, like I haven't lived the experience, but it opened my eyes and made me a lot more compassionate to a struggle
mm,
that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten such a good picture of, I guess, or
like a
wouldn't have been
close-up
aware of.
view,
Yes,
Yeah.
like a glimpse into a certain struggle that I have not had to deal with in my life. And I
Yeah.
think we could connect this a little bit to what's happening with Elizabeth this week. So this week, Aiden, the boy, was not in the story, but we saw how
Hmm.
Elizabeth and Franco are struggling right now, and she did get some advice from Lucas and Brad. And what I like about that storyline too, we talked about it last week. It really opens up a dialogue, and I think somewhat like the Mike storyline when they're really grounded in reality. For those of us who don't have or share Elizabeth's experience, it gives us a glimpse into what some people are going through and allows us to develop a compassion for something that maybe we wouldn't have really given that much thought to. And like everybody who's experienced, let's say, somebody with Alzheimer's in their life, for all the people that can connect with Elizabeth's storyline, I think it's nice to not feel alone and to see yourself reflected in the story. And I think that's why GH is just so amazing. They're willing to touch on all of these subjects.
I agree. Like everything you said is fantastic. You couldn't have said it any better. And I really love the relationship with Franco and Elizabeth and the fact that how supportive he is towards her. And he's always been supportive towards the boys, but that he went to the library and got all those books and he just really wants to make sure that whatever happens, that they're both prepared to tackle it together. Like that was really beautiful to me because
Exactly.
as much as how we may feel about the character Elizabeth, um, it really kind of I didn't
No,
have that
she's
feeling
doing
this
great.
week. It
No,
was
not
she's
at
doing
all.
a great job. I love the conversations that are happening and what she's doing and how she's handling it. It's pretty awesome.
Which is also why I'm so annoyed that at this point in time they're suspecting Franco, because you're seeing two
Yes.
sides of him. You're seeing that storyline and then you're
Oh,
seeing the serious stuff that he's dealing with. But aside from that, so Brad is stealing babies, but now he's trying to steal dinners. Like I think like Lucas and him are being super supportive about coming over for dinner and showing Aiden how accepting that his mother is. But here's Brad trying to like squeeze in a free meal. So I don't know, Brad, you might want to like tone it
ease up.
down and try to accumulate a little bit of good karma at this point. So if you're going for dinner, try to be all in, 100% present over there. Yikes,
Oh
man. I
gosh,
feel
T,
bad for Brad
you
because
love it.
he's gotten more story than Lucas has. And so
True.
I don't know what's gonna happen to him. I don't see GH without Brad. I mean, I like both Brad and Lucas and I wish to get more story, but that's the thing. Like I just don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm excited to
I
find out.
I don't know either. But just to get back, like just Brad and Lucas, one thing I wanted to mention super quick is their date and how true to life that was as
Oh my
well.
gosh.
Because my first date with Brandon after we had kids was like, I think we were gone for maybe an hour, maybe an hour. And then we came back home. We were like, we can't do this. Let's go back home. We missed that kid.
Oh, I remember too. It's just that the thing is, the first time we left Jackson alone, it was well, not alone. We had a baby. So I know how children work and they need supervision. But we left. And the worst part is like I couldn't do that. Like I couldn't necessarily cut our date super short because it was his birthday. Johnny's birthday, not Jackson's birthday. We're like, bye. No, it was Johnny's birthday and he wanted to like go out. And I'm just like, you're so selfish. But anyways, we did and we had like kind of like a very early date. Like the date started like at, I don't know, like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. or something like that. So yeah, I couldn't get out of it early. It was fine. It was good. It was good, Johnny, because he's listening. He listens to the podcast.
Best day ever.
It was. And so, okay, in terms of, there is no transition, so I'm just going to get to it. So, did you like, so, I really enjoyed the Obrecht Nina Maxi scene.
I
I got
did
a
too.
problem about it though, but we'll talk about the good stuff before I get
Okay.
into the problem I've got.
Okay, what's the good stuff?
Well, you can go. Well, they're just funny. They were funny. I loved them cheersing. I thought it was sweet, and I just loved like how they were handling like Obrecht's inquisition into like Maxi's wedding ring. I loved how Maxi tried to like shift the conversation towards Sasha. I thought that was so funny.
All of it was great, and also like, oh, who's your love interest? Oh, you wanted to work with us?
Oh,
Why? Like Oberg wanted to work with the magazine because with
I
for him to
know.
be an expert, but that falls right into Peter, and obviously that's laying the groundwork for Maxie to speak to Peter, and Valentine's still gonna get his way. But that whole conversation, like, oh, who's the new beau? Who are you interested in? And they're all kind of super awkward. Like,
It is super awkward, and she still hasn't said who it was. And I loved when she was like looking at Nita, being like, "Did you know about this?" And she's like, "Oh." So I loved all of that. And I mean, look, I am supportive of the whole Maxie Peter thing. Okay. And
yeah,
it was of Peter's own will, you know, even though, because the thing is, it's interesting because Valentine and Maxie both are asking similar things of Peter. It's just that one has nefarious intentions and the other one doesn't. Maxie, anyway. So
yes,
we see that, you know, Peter is figuring out that Obrecht has something over Valentine and that it could cost him Nina. But and he was asking, actually, yeah, he was asking Peter to have her work at the Invader. But then it
yes.
kind of bugged me. It's one thing for Valentine to cross the line and ask something like that of Peter, but it bothered me that Maxie would do that because she knows how he suffered. She was there when he had his panic attacks. And I know that she wants him to find a way to let it go, obviously, because it's awkward. You know, Obrecht is still her mother in law, it's still James's grandmother. She is going to be in
Mhm.
her life. But I don't know. It's just you could respect the fact that it might take him some time to get over the fact that she tortured him for months, like he said.
Well, yeah, that part throws me too because she already got him to drop the charges. And
Yeah.
now she's going to ask him for the, and I'm sure it's going to happen. She's going to ask for the favor for Oprah to work with Peter's magazine. Like, it's a bit much. Like you said, give the dude some time. Like, we get it. You're all going to be connected. You are all connected. But he deserves some time to breathe and get everything together before he goes to the next step and does that type of favor for you again.
Like he's not even into like Anna in his life, and she didn't even torture him. But I
Right?
have to say, but I have to say this. But you know what's funny? Valentine is always softening him up to like Maxie's will in a way, because obviously Maxie didn't want Obrecht to like go to jail, but he gets primed by like Valentine. Valentine kind of asks the thing, he says no, and then he's kind of warmed up by the time Maxie comes around and asks her the same thing. So he's gonna for sure say yes to her because again, it's not like the idea is brand new to him. Valentine already tried it with him. The thing
Right.
is, though, is just as much as I think it's unfair to Peter, and I do like Anna, she's bothering me less now in the context of Peter because I felt she was being too like needy, be my son, you know, and I just didn't like it. But I, the only reason I want Obrecht to work for him is just because I feel like it's gonna annoy Anna a little bit. Like she's
Oh
bending
my
over backwards
gosh.
trying to prove herself to him, and then he like gets Obrecht out of jail, and then is like, "Yeah, come work for me." And it's kind of like, whoa, I'm trying to get close to you. And this woman did horrible things to you. And then you're allowing her in your life. And I just think it goes back to what we were talking about last week. You know, to
Mhm.
Robin, Anna is everything. And to everybody in Anna's life, she is everything. And in her relationship with Peter, he doesn't see her as like amazing. And I think this action of hiring Obrecht still reflects that in his relationship with Anna, is that this is going to be a struggle for her because she doesn't
I
have that luxury of
agree.
being this like awesome person to him. He doesn't see her that way.
I think it's going to make for some really funny scenes, especially if she's going to start popping up at his work. Like Anna pops up at Peter's work and just all of a sudden sees Obrecht there.
But I think
That's going
it's
to be hilarious.
you think that's going to be funny? I think Obrecht having a desk job is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
Another
will she get an assistant? Like, how's that going to work? It's going to be so funny.
I really think it's funny. I mean, going from international terrorist to I'm just going to write a column because no one's going to let me do experimental medicine on them in the States.
Well, you know what's funny though? Because we said that Griffin will be perfect for that role. But now that Obrecht is in that position, it's going to be even better.
But wouldn't it be funny if Griffin joined her though? I don't know
Uh,
what's gonna happen with him. He's kind of like losing it here and there. And why is nobody addressing his cut? Like I know all the
I
scenes with like
know.
Sunny was emotional, but he was there, and I don't think Sunny even asked him like, "Hey, did you cut yourself shaving?" Like nobody asked him.
What's going on with that hairy forehead? Take care of that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
So
man.
So we're there. We're at the last thing. And this is something I really wanted to make sure I didn't leave out. So Curtis took it upon himself to meet with Marcus,
Loved
and
it.
Stella found out. And I think it was so funny because I forgot about this when Curtis defended his actions by saying, and it's true, he wasn't doing it in a malicious way. His intent was to try to help her in some shape or form and to defend his
You're
aunt.
gonna steal
But
my
then
line. You're gonna steal my line. Go for it.
I don't think so. But then she had done it to him. I totally forgot that she went behind his back and contacted his ex-girlfriend. But she didn't do that for good intentions. So I
Yeah.
kind of love that. It's like, really, you don't like people meddling in your life? Jeez. Like,
I thought you were gonna say quote his line because it killed me when she was like yelling at him and getting all mad, and he's like, "Well, where do you think I learned to meddle from?"
oh my gosh, I didn't even catch that because I was just so amused by how he chose to defend his actions. Like, I didn't see him drawing on that at all. But I really love that, and I just love how mad she got. So you'd think she'd understand, but nobody learns in Port Charles. It's something in the water. But even better than that was, so she's done kind of yelling at him. She always needs somebody to yell at. But then she's like, now I gotta go meet him. It's like, no, you don't actually. Like, he asked to talk to you. And you don't have to go. Like, there's no law that says you have to go and see him. She obviously wanted to go see him. And then when they were together, I just was like, oh, guys. Like, they started to get a little like, it was like such sexy time was the word that kept popping into my mind. Like, when I was watching the scenes of Stella and Marcus, I honestly felt like I was interrupting. Like, maybe I should shut the TV off.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I know all the like little sparkles in their eyes and all the I never
The
love you,
looks.
and oh, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh, the looks they were giving each other. It's just like, tone it down, guys. Daytime TV. Daytime TV. Or turn it up because it is daytime TV.
Maybe they practice. Maybe they have a hungry eyes session because like Alexis had the hungry eyes. We noticed a couple of other characters the hungry eyes. Now these two. Do you think there's like a class for it, like a
there's
seminar?
there's maybe a seminar, probably a seminar, I would say. So on that note, I have a seminar to go take.
And I need to do something this weekend, I guess.
Yes, yes, you do. So have a good night and have a great weekend. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, like probably tomorrow. Okay, and next Friday.
Yes.
Bye.